Welcome, folks, to the next episode of BattleTech Simplified. I'm Michael Shockman, I'll be your host and commentator, and in today's episode we will be covering the heavy mech that is often considered to be more about its bark than its bite. Today we will be covering the Dragon. The Dragon is a heavy battle mech originally designed in a bid to replace the Shadowhawk, a close assault mech. Its versatile design allows it to be used in both offensive and defensive operations. It boasts above-average firepower and plenty of ammunition for extended combat, while a Vlar 300 fusion engine gives it a high top speed for a heavy mech. Armor coverage for the Dragon's 10 tons is thick around the torso and especially the rear, for when it is surrounded by opponents, while the squat design gives it a smaller profile and makes it harder to knock over. The lack of any especially heat-intensive equipment makes the use of only 10 heat sinks a non-issue. The Dragon's only major problem is it requires frequent maintenance and/or overhaul of its hip actuators. Debuting in 2754 during the twilight years of the Star League, the Dragon was turned down by the SLDF in favor of an upgraded Shadowhawk, though it would be quietly picked up by the Draconis Combine. With the dissolution of the Star League and the onset of the Succession Wars, the Dragon became the Combine's standard heavy mech. Multiple production lines on many well-defended worlds, including Luthien, meant the design was so prevalent every battalion and almost every company featured the Dragon, with some battalions comprised of nothing but these mechs. So many were produced by that the Federated Suns and Lyran Commonwealth employed salvaged dragons in their own arsenals, while many mercenary commands captured used captured or purchased models. The Free Rosselhog Republic would also adopt the mech following their formation. The beginning of the end came around 3025 when the Grand Dragon, an improved version of the Dragon, entered the prototype phase. By 3040, initial production had begun on this upgraded model, with several Dragon factories switching over entirely to producing Grand Dragons. Even as the Combine was phasing it out of service, the original Dragon was not wholly abandoned, and it saw combat during the clan invasion. By 3065, however, Luthien Armor Works had ceased production altogether of the Dragon, though it would remain within the DCMS inventory for some time. The Dragon's primary weapons are an Imperator A autocannon 5 class in the right arm and a Telos Deca Cluster LRM-10 launcher in the center torso, giving it respectable long-range capabilities as it charges forward. Additionally, the use of long-range missiles grants the Dragon indirect fire capabilities. 2 tons of ammo for each allows it to operate for extended periods away from supply lines. For close combat, the Dragon carries 2 Victory 23R medium lasers, one that is rear-mounted in its torso and the other in its left arm. The Dragon is also a proficient brawler, often finishing off an opponent with physical attacks, and its normally delicate autocannon is wrapped in a thick protective sleeve for just such occasions. As for my personal feelings on the Dragon, guys, I just have to say that the Dragon, while on paper and based on this kind of misleadingly so, based on this readout, in my personal experience, the Dragon is by far one of the most incapable heavy mechs in the game. The only thing it's really good for, because it does actually have a decent number of hard points for like ballistic and missiles things. However, it doesn't have the tonnage in practice to really be able to mount enough armor or enough real weaponry to really make a difference in a stand-up fight. The one area where it does excel, however, is as a bullet sponge. Generally, in my experience, when I've gone up against people both with dragons and with a dragon on my side, the uh, the enemy tends to focus on the dragon first, and then I usually tend to focus on the dragon or something else that's a little bit bigger, as a matter of course, respectively. As such, it's really great as a tank in the like MMO type of sense of the word, and it is a great bullet sponge. Unfortunately, the AC5 doesn't really give it a lot of real damage capability, and the LRMs are just little enough in number to not really be able to make much of a difference at long range. Yeah. Anyway, folks, thank you so much for joining me on this episode. Hope you have enjoyed. If you have, please consider liking and subscribing, and also following the links down in the description. I really appreciate it. Stay tuned for next week when we dive into the next mech of the heavy class, that being the 65-tonners. And yeah, we'll see you then. Until then, guys, I'm Michael Shockman. I've been your host and commentator, and remember, no guts, no galaxy. Later, everybody.